And welcome everybody to the Dr. Jane Mackenzie live on a Thursday. And we are busy running our 2026 Health Revolution Boost Your Immunity series. Today we're talking about my absolute favorite, and that is oxygen. And you can go onto my YouTube channel, put oxygen in the search bar, and you will see numerous educational videos on oxygen, oxygenation, what an antioxidant does, what oxidants do, and how we build immunity. And I was saying to clients today, I don't know where I'd be with my practice if we never had access to the almost gold, the oxygen, the cell vitality OXYMINERALS, or the cell oxygen capsules, and the DMSO, well, and the probiotic, the RNA, DNA. I don't know where we'd be, because those are my major tools, in addition to the super nutrients and so on, and the detox, organ detoxification, etc. But those are my real main go-tos that honestly make the difference. You know what I mean? They just absolutely set what I do apart from most people. So we are very, very grateful to have these awesome nutrients. And oxygen is king and queen and everything all together. Oxygen is the breath of life. Without oxygen, we can't live. So imagine if a cell doesn't have oxygen. You can give it as much infrared, you can give it as much nutrients, as much magnesium, as much NAD, as much as whatever you can find. If it doesn't have oxygen, you're not gonna live. To a great extent, if you don't have charged electrons, you're also not going to live. So we need to have those two in combination with the right amount of food inside the cell. Then we will make energy. Then we will have neg entropy. We will have life force, and we'll be able to live. So absolutely crucial. So let's get on with it today, and get your notepads out and so on, because I'm going to give you really interesting information that I haven't presented before directly. So we're looking at building resistance before the invaders strike. And I always use my holistic integrated epigenetic life orientation process, which is a quantum well-being compass. And that will look at emotional purification as well as physical purification. Why emotional purification? Because the emotions are the root cause beyond the physical root cause. Some people don't even get the physical root cause out. They treat the organ directly. They'll treat the thyroid directly. They're not getting to the root cause. They don't see the body as an integrated whole. So a holistic practitioner like myself sees the whole, the big picture, the experiential and the existential world, and looks at physical, neurological, emotional, and spiritual integration, coherence. So that is what my compass is all about. And the 365 Healthy by Choice products are the nutrients that we use in the high-low. So with that introduction, let's get on with this, the 2026 Health Revolution. And that's been the theme this whole year. We've done self-love. We've done the Chinese Year of the Yang, Heart Horse. We've done immunity. We've also done a lot on gut and brain health. So here we're talking about building immunity with oxygen. And there's a lovely picture there of the lungs, because the lungs are our breathing apparatus. They are our leaves. And of course, the foods that are good for the lungs are the leafy veggies. So the kale, the spinach, the broccolis, the leafy veggies. They are the foods for the lungs. So the lungs and the leaves, you can see the same thing. And a leaf has veins in it, and so you can see the lungs do as well. So just by way of introduction, there are the two major oxygen nutrients that we use: the cell vitality OXYMINERALS and the cell oxygen. And I'm going to be explaining the difference between the two of those and how they work. So just to say, without oxygen, we can't survive. But oxygen is the fundamental to life, detoxification, and immune resilience. You'll be surprised how many people don't get a full breath of oxygen absorbed. And there's many reasons for this. One of the main reasons is that there can be deep-seated parasites living in the lungs, in the lung tissue, covering the mucous membrane area, which blocks the oxygen absorption. And that's the main one. You can also have toxins sitting in there. You can also have calcification of the lung tissue. So there's a lot of blockages in the lungs that might prevent absorption. You also might not have enough flaxseed oil, the oily layer on the inside of the lung membrane, to transfer the oxygen through. You need an electrical potential, and I've spoken about this a lot of times, to get the oxygen through in the same way as you need that electrical potential in the gut lining to get the food through to the bloodstream. Then when we get to the cell membrane, we need the right electrical potential there. And flaxseed oil does all of this for us. It's the principles of flaxseed oil. Other oils don't do this. So it's medicine, it's physics, it's science. It's grounded. And then when we've got that lining around the cell membrane, the right millivoltage is minus 95, we will get food and oxygen absorbed into the cell, can then bind with the electrons, charge the electrons, and produce ATP, our energy. So that's all crucial. And it's even more important to cleanse the lung lining and the lung itself from the toxins and the parasites. So here we've got the oxygen cycle, and animals, ourselves, are breathing in the oxygen. The trees are alternating between releasing oxygen and releasing carbon dioxide. So the more trees you cut down, the less oxygen we're going to have. And that is life. Why oxygen matters so much is because every cell depends on oxygen for energy, detoxification, and repair. So it is an extraordinary molecule. O2, in other words. And here, if you just have a look very specifically, you can enlarge your screen. Healthy oxidation supports detoxification pathways and immune defense. Right, so what is the difference between chlorine and chlorine dioxide? We're talking about the OXYMINERALS, cell vitality OXYMINERALS here. So chlorine oxidizes completely differently to chlorine dioxide. Chlorine leaves the dangerous chemicals in your body, or the swimming pool, or the purification system. Chlorine dioxide breaks down into salt, NaCl. None of that is toxic. It's used by the body. So just understand that chlorine dioxide is not pool chlorine. It's completely different. So very, very, very specialized molecule. In fact, the millivolts of the cell vitality oxyminerals is the same as the millivolts around the cell membrane, minus 95. A breath of air is 1.3. And ozone is 2.3. So ozone is actually dangerous because, first of all, it blankets hits every single cell. How do you know how long each person needs? How do you know if you're not damaging those cells? It's just too strong. So these little droplets are actually less than a normal breath of air. Hardly, in fact, healthily operating within our body. So how does this work? And I've got a nice diagram here. So you've got a molecule here. And it could be, in a pathogen, it could be just ready to be oxidized. So here comes along, the electron shell is drawn off by the charge of the chlorine dioxide molecule. The electron shell is drawn off by the charge of the chlorine dioxide molecule. There it is, pulling the electron envelope off. All right, these atoms are shown here after the shell has been drawn off. All these little particles, little atoms, are rendered harmless, inactive, ready for the body to take up. The electron shell is pulled over to disrupt the chlorine molecule. And the chlorine molecule consists of 2 chlorine atoms. And when this chlorine molecule is disrupted, both of the atoms will combine with the atoms on the molecule that is being oxidized. So we get a combination here, as opposed to an antioxidant, which is going to be electron pairing. So an antioxidant, such as vitamin C, almost gold, will give electrons so that we pair all the outer orbitals so that the molecule is stable. Whereas the oxidation with chlorine dioxide pulls the electron envelope off. That free radical that's unstable pulls the electron off. The next layer will be stable, the next layer of that molecule. So here we have new molecules forming using all the goodness of the little atoms that are spewed out when the electron envelope is pulled off. So instead of the pathogen actually being destroyed, one or two or more molecules are then created. And that is how we absolutely neutralize free radicals using oxidation. It is far more powerful than an antioxidant, way more, far more, and it's gentle. It's absolutely gentle. And that is the mechanism behind oxygen, the chlorine dioxide in particular. So I hope that's helped you. Just think in your head, it pulls the electron envelope off the free radical, free, unbound atom. And then here we've got the product supporting oxygen transport, hydration, and mineral replenishment. And as I said to you, these cells have got the same charge as the outer membrane of the cells. And so they're enhancing that electrical potential, the charge, and they're delivering oxygen inside the cell, which will then bind with the highly charged electrons, if the body's battery is charged, to produce the ATP. And with the food that gets absorbed with it. Then we've also got the chlorine dioxide capsules. This is white powder, magnesium dioxide, 1 magnesium to 2 oxygen. So when you consume the cell oxygen capsule, the magnesium and the oxygen split off. Magnesium is very relaxing for the intestines and for the entire body. And the O2 then gets to work. It's working in an oxidation way as well. You would never take antioxidants and an oxidant at the same time. Why not? Because you're going to neutralize your effect. Obviously, they're going to neutralize each other instead of cleaning you. So if you buy a tub or a bottle of cell oxygen, magnesium dioxide, together with herbs and super nutrients, you're buying something that's going to neutralize inside you. That's for sure. The science doesn't work like that. So they need to be separate. So be very, very aware. Ours are separate and they're taken before meals and away from anything to do with an antioxidant, superfood. So we get just as good results, but much better with the chlorine dioxide, with the cell oxygen, and that would be daily oral administration. Then I've brought in this evening anyway the DMSO. It also has oxygen, dimethyl sulfur oxide. It's a solvent, so it dissolves degenerative tissue. Anything in the body that shouldn't be there, the wrong magnetic charge, it guns for. So it's working together with the chlorine dioxide to effect a massive detoxification. It's working on the physical level, but as the toxins go, you all know, toxins can even carry emotions. As the toxins leave, the body starts purifying, and in fact, neurologically, emotionally, and spiritually, we start shifting anyway. So oxygen is in the quantum state, and it works like that. It works holistically, which is absolutely fantastic. The DMSO is an anti-inflammatory as well. It's an antioxidant and an analgesic. So both of these will work with pain and inflammation. Absolutely wonderful. And you can use both of them orally and topically. And we do lots and lots of very interesting creative things with the cell vitality, OXYMINERALS, and DMSO topically, depending on the condition. If it's fibroids, endometriosis, prostate cancer, breast cancer, any of those. We will use it as an adjunct. So there you have it, the DMSO, and I invite you to have a look on my website, 365 Healthy by Choice, because there's a load of information on DMSO. I think you will be spellbound at what it actually does. And we take the DMSO every single day in water, and we do the oxygen drops as a purification over a 4 to 6 week period, depending on what we're addressing. Sometimes it's over 3 months or 4 months. And or we'll then use it on a maintenance dose. So the big effect of the DMSO is the sulfur as a detox. And some people can take more than others. It just depends on your ability and the body's ability to metabolize its sulfur. So let's get more into, this mitochondria and the cellular energy, the biochemical anatomy of mitochondria. If oxygen is going to fuel the energy production and resilience, let's have a look. So a eukaryote cell is a bacteria. They've got mitochondria. That's inside our cell. It produces ATP from the citric acid cycle, fatty acid oxidation, and amino acid oxidation. So we need the proteins there most importantly. And that's where, if you have the replica RNA DNA, you're getting the 5 major building blocks: uracil, guanine, adenine, thymine, cytosine. Wonderful. So we've got the amino acids, the fatty acids, you're using the flaxseed oil, and then you've got the oxygen coming in to do the citric acid cycle and really the Krebs cycle as well. So at the mitochondrial inner membrane, electrons, now these are going to be charged electrons from NADH, FADH2, pass through the electron transport chain to the oxygen, which is then reduced to water. So mitochondrial water, understand, is plasma water. That is what we should be drinking. We need plasma water. Watermelon, for example, is plasma water. Coconut water is plasma water. So once we've got the plasma water, the body can use it. Some people drink and drink and drink, but the problem is then they're not getting the charged electrons and the oxygen happening inside the mitochondria in the cell. The electron transport chain compromises an enzymatic series of electron donors and acceptors. So that is really what is happening when we're producing ATP. And I've talked to you before, it's not only ATP, adenosine triphosphate, it's also guanine, cytosine, and thymidine. So ATP, TTP, CTP, and GTP, all 4. You're going to get those if you're taking the replica RNA DNA. It's going to boost your immunity. It's going to boost the energy. And that will be the replica RNA DNA. So, a lot of when I talk, there's replication and overlap because these products are working holistically. And they've each got their role. So without the proteins, we're not going to get there. So the immune activation requires an oxygen-rich cellular environment. And that's exactly what we do. That's how we prepare. And that is how we pull people out. That is how we get the phenomenal testimonies and case studies that we have. Then also when we assess the immune response, we're using either the quantum NQB or the Q450. And are we able to detect with the quantum machine oxygen inside the cell? Not the normal oximeter, which is the blood oxygen. We get the cellular oxygen, we get the cellular hydration, we get the cellular charge of electrons. So we know what's going to happen. So when you're working with a quantum machine, you're working with quantum vital statistics, the voltage, the amperage, the resistance, and then the hydration, the oxygenation, the pH. And it's all about the cell vitality. So these are the devices we use, we benchmark. And then at the end of the process, of the end of the high-low process, we benchmark again, and we can then look at progress. So what you measure is what you get. Nothing goes unnoticed here. And people just need to follow, and we're going to get a result. And people just need to follow. It sounds like a string of words. Some people don't. Most people do because they really do want to change. But the very, very severe chronic people, sometimes it's a challenge for them. But remember, you will heal you. I'm an educator. I will bring the right products to you. I will measure and evaluate. I will use what I can to assist You heal you. The ball's in your court. So in this age of prevention, we want to support the terrain before the disease develops. And that's the homeostasis of the body. And I think my next slide shows you, yes. So we've talked about these before. Today, we're talking about the oxygen, the cell vitality, oxymineral, cell oxygen, and the DMSO. And I've talked many times about the minerals, the gold, silver, copper, nickel from the Ormus gold, which is alchemical, M-state, gold, silver, copper, nickel, platinum. The shilajit, the racemos, we talked about the minerals, we talked about the oils, we talked about the probiotics, the peptides, the stem cells. And then we've talked about our super nutrients, the B mix, the algae mix, medicinal mushroom mix. Go and have a look on the YouTube channel. They're there. We've talked about stress hormones in the nervous system and stress adaptogens and mucuna and the various products that we use, brain fuel, female and male hormone boost to address this side. We talked about the antioxidants last week, VitaFlow, glutathione, Phyto-C. Go and have a look on the YouTube. We haven't talked yet about alkalinity and electrolytes and boron, but I will. Parasites, the para-immune defense and parastop. There's many presentations on this. The para-immune defense will really get you on a herbal level, together with the DMSO and the cell vitality oxyminerals, or the cell oxygen for that matter, will get directly to the weird and wonderful parasites. It's got the strongest antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral herbs. And the parastop is in the para-immune anyway. I've talked a lot about fat accumulation, calcium accumulation, protein accumulation as well for that matter, where you need mRNA to metabolize protein, and you're going to get that from the replica RNA DNA. And obviously enzymes will help. And then with wintertime, specifically looking at the lungs, cleanse and restore. And I did speak to you about that. So if there's calcification there, we'll clear it. If there's fat in the blood, we'll clear it. And then to talk about the holistic ancestral orientation, emotional release process, where we let go of generational patterns of sadness, for example. Lung is the organ of sadness. So we will go to the core, the origin of the memory, clear it, and you will be cleared. That's what we do. And that is the most beautiful emotional release. And then we get the inner alchemy working, and we get holistic health and well-being, because we purified emotionally and physically. We leave no stones unturned here. So guess what? We have 15% off on the immunity products. Go to 365healthybychoiceshop.com. And you can go to the sale item straight away, and you can also go to the search bar and search. And do that, because it's a limited time left. And I would really like you to build your immunity in all these wonderful ways, and bring joy, peace, freedom, unconditional love into your life. When we're doing that, we're going to be building immunity. Stress destroys immunity. Poor lifestyle destroys immunity. And that's what we don't need. We want to be ahead of the game rather than, a step behind. So those are my wishes for you. And I want people to think clearly, live productively, and thrive 365 days a year. I'm walking testimony. I do what I advocate, and I love it. I love a very high feeling of having a very high level, very high frequency. And I want my electrons charged as much as I can, and I want my oxygen level as high as it can be. And I exercise and I eat well and try to live well. Obviously, I negate the blue light that's coming at me, and whatever else modern day technology brings to us in a damaging form. I'll negate that. I've got my infrared lamp here, which will then also ward off the blue light. So lots more on my website, on my YouTube, and have a lot of fun there and build that immunity. It's your army. See you next week.